Here in a second, but obviously very disappointing performance tonight. Really just starts with obviously our ability to take our week of preparation, even on a short week, and show up and play a lot better in all three phases. Got to coach better, specifically me. Our team will handle the adversity that is now right at our feet, and we've got to go back to work and improve immediately. There's some things just overall, we've got to stop doing many things, sometimes very noticeable, sometimes things throughout plays that, the negative plays are stacking up against us, and where it seems like right now we take one step forward to take two steps back, and that's across the board, specifically on our offense. I thought the defense battled. They held them to 1 of 5 in the red zone and really kept us in the football game, and just did not do enough clearly offensively. And anytime you lose the turnover battle, have more penalties, you're going to have a hard time winning a football game, no matter what you try to do. And I thought our guys stuck with it, hung together, showed the type of team togetherness they have, but in the end, we've got to start executing at a little higher level, and that's as an entire group, and that's me included. So we will go back to work and attempt to, have a really good post game tomorrow, where we all look inward first and try to improve, find the little things here and there throughout the game, even if somebody played fantastic, and I'm sure there's going to be some performances where guys did play well. Are you playing to a standard that we talk about, and that's all of us, coaching staff included. So we've got to clean up our operation and clean up our procedure as well as our execution, and that's going to be a theme that we will continue to focus on. I thought our fans were phenomenal, which obviously makes it sting even more, knowing that we had that kind of atmosphere and that kind of support from our fan base. And obviously, there were some injuries. That is never going to be an excuse. We put together a roster we feel confident in, guys stepping in across the board and performing. So want to update you guys on the injuries before I take questions. Ryan Kelly did have a concussion. He was ruled out. School also had a concussion. He was ruled out. Grenard did have the oblique, but returned and battled and played his heart out, fighting through that. Aaron Jones will be evaluated for a hamstring. Don't know what that looks like as of right now, but we'll keep you guys updated. And then Gabe Murphy had his left knee MCL will be evaluated. So came in a little banged up and added a few names, but takes our entire football team needs to be ready to go, top to bottom. Guys that get elevated, all those things. That's such is life in the NFL. Back to work we go. You can't be a 1-0 team if you're going to allow an 0-1 to change anything about your mindset towards your individual or collective group effort of trying to strive to become the best football team we can this year. Long journey ahead.
Kevin, what was your message after the game to JJ?
Yeah, I just it was one of those games where. Once again, only 46 plays. We just, we've got to find a way as a group. It's going to be easy to try to put the microscope on JJ, and there's certainly some plays, some throws, some things that I'm sure he would love to, get another op at. But I thought he also, when we did move it, I thought he made some throws, and I thought he showed his athleticism, and just as a group, we did not execute to our standard, and it kind of moved from guy to guy at times, and either a mental lapse or physical lapse, but either way, the negatives start to mount, and you're just not doing enough to give yourself a chance to actually win the football game.
Kevin, first and goal at the 2, the delay of game.
Yeah, we changed personnels. They told me they saw somebody step off our sideline from very much further back and once we had made our substitution, that's why they held it. I got to go back and see it. Obviously, I'm looking down at the area around the goal line, but my expectation was, at some point during that end of clock sequence there, he would, when they had an opportunity to sub, he would step away, and he just didn't, and we subbed. We subbed, and got the play in before the headset communication went out. Thought we'd get the playoff and potentially get a run off there. Then we get moved back, we take a sack, and that sequence was essentially over. So when we get, especially in a game like this, that's a critical time to put the ball in the end zone and see if we can turn the momentum and allow our defense to play with a little bit of momentum, which they were never able to do. Any momentum they had was able to overcome our sluggish performance on offense, and you've got to play complementary football. That's the way we're going to build our game plans. That's the way we're going to build ourselves as a team, and it's going to take all three phases for 60 minutes when you're playing against anybody in the NFL. I thought Atlanta, you got to give them a lot of credit. They came in, Raheem had his guys ready to go, and they beat us.
Kevin, some of the sacks and pressures where they had guys coming in unblocked, what was the theme of why those things happened when they had so many free runners?
Yeah, I think there was definitely some times where some guys got beat in some one-on-one situations. Got to go back and see exactly, Ben, kind of what happened there. But you felt it certainly in the first half there, and then Ryan goes down in the second quarter. School goes down in the third. We've got some guys stepping in and trying to play. You're trying to help as much as you possibly can from a schematic standpoint. With help here and there, specifically on the edges. And then we had a miscue, kind of on the fumble was a little bit of a mental error there, and we've got to get that cleaned up because that was critical, moment in the game where we got some good field position and we had a chance to once again try to capture the momentum in the game, and we just didn't do it. Had a chance at Speedy at one point on a 3rd and short. Thought it would be our best chance to try to get a one-on-one for one of our guys down the field, and just overshot it a little bit. And so there was just, could we make that one play? Had close to a 20-yard run and get flagged for a holding call that set you back. So it just seemed to me, Ben, that it was, it's the sacks come from a lack of execution sometimes on that down. Sometimes it's on a previous down. But 46 snaps, and I believe we had 49 last week. We just got to have more plays. We got to possess the football. We've got to find a way to stay on the field longer because it's an important part of how we need to play as a team, especially against a team like that.
On that sequence you mentioned with Speedy, I think the ball's around 30, 28, something like that. 4th down, do you think about that, or is it?
Yeah, we fumbled a snap early on when I was pretty aggressive there with that 4th down early. It was inside of a half a yard, and it looked like the ball came, JJ might have bobbled the ball a little bit, and then we didn't get that, gave the defense a short field. They held them to 3. So definitely thought about it, but, was hoping to get that one more timely stop to try to have, anywhere from 6, 7 minutes left to try to then, activate the ability to go try to, at least put the ball in the end zone and then see what happens there, whether you're in a sequence, kind of like our opponent last week, where maybe it's the onside, maybe there's enough time, depending on how much timeouts we have left. To ultimately try to see if we can get back in the football game. And then at the end, obviously, I made the decision, we were kind of in a freeway situation, let them score, and knew it was going to take 2 scores and 2 two-point conversions, but at least we would have the ball with some time, and unfortunately just didn't do anything with it.
Kevin, how much of the lack of rhythm offensively is in some way to be expected with a quarterback in his first 2 games versus how much do you feel as if it's just been more lack of execution maybe?
Yeah, I think, that's one of the things that, we are definitely going to talk about, as a coaching staff, because like first half last week, when you're talking about, okay, you're on the road, maybe there's some, first time on the road and things like that, communication can be tested, and I thought we improved as the game went on, specifically in the second half last week. But to me, being at home, having your snap count, having your cadence, you've got to eliminate any and all pre-snap penalties. Some of the straining penalties, like a holding call when a guy's in there, I think Walt was in there on his first snap, and just trying to strain, and those things are going to happen. The execution plays that are catastrophic are the ones that we've got to find a way, to eliminate, because against any team in the NFL, if you do some of the things we did tonight, you're going to make it really hard on yourself. Even if your guys are fighting and scratching for 60 minutes, it was not an effort thing in any one of the 3 phases. It's just we've got to find out how we continue to strive to the standard of execution that's required. Like I said, even if a guy had a clean sheet for the whole night but had a catastrophic error, specifically around a young quarterback too, that's where we've got to try to find to elevate that bar and have the cleanest possible execution around him. That's why we put together the group we hope to put around him. Obviously, when you've got your backup center coming in the game and then your third tackle, playing a significant amount of snaps, it's going to be hard. But there's probably 10 teams that went through similar things today around the NFL. So you can't. I don't look at that as you obviously adjust and you try to help any way you can. But to me, the type of roster and team I believe we have, and I know we have, the expectation is we're going to do what's required to win a football game, and then we're going to compete down to the very end. Didn't think we did that tonight, specifically on offense from an execution standpoint, all around that huddle. And we've got to take a look at it. Guys got to try to find, look at themselves very much so. Like, am I doing everything on every single snap, all 46 of the snaps? Am I doing everything to do my job and be a trusted guy in that huddle? And once we get to that point with the type of guys we have, get as healthy as we can, I've got all the confidence in the world that we are going to, move the football and score points. This is going to be a process, for our team, and our young quarterback's going to, make some plays. He's going to, make some unbelievable throws, which a couple of those throws there that got us down to the 2 I thought were big-time plays. And then other times he's going to, have an attempt and just miss something a little long, and, we'll go back and try to fix it. But sometimes the fundamentals are going to be right, the techniques are going to be right, and he's learning on the fly right now. And the way you overcome that is by the full group's execution level being to a certain standard that we can go try to compete and win with.
On the fumble that JJ picked up around the goal line there, looked like he was trying to get a pitch off to Jordan Mason. What happened on that play?
Yeah, it was kind of a play pass. He just dropped the ball. It was kind of a play we've been practicing for a while. It just happened to drop the ball on the play, which is tough because you end up in a situation there where we might have had Justin potentially there with them kind of selling out to stop that play. Good sell by the guys up front. We just dropped the ball, and then we're trying to find a way to get the ball in the end zone from there. He was able to pick it up and at least get it thrown away, and then we had the sequence with the delay and then the sack, and then we were third and I believe goal from maybe the 14-yard line. So that right there in a nutshell is what the night kind of was. And there's nobody that's going to fix those things besides our coaches and players. We've got the greatest group ever in that locker room. I have nothing but confidence in our staff and myself to, work with these guys and make sure we constantly chase improvement. And it's early in the season. We're a one-on-one football team that's going to try to win a game this week against a good team coming in, and we certainly want to make sure we play a lot better at home. That's for darn sure.
Kevin, those first 2 runs, seemed to be a lot of mistakes, a lot of bad angles and missed tackles. What did you see from the sideline? Yeah,
I thought our defense, they tried to scratch and claw and play their hearts out. But I did think tackling, against a good group, they've got some good guys when they got the ball in their hands. We had some players there. I thought Flo, was doing everything he could to try to limit some of those runs and doing some things tactically. And we just missed some tackles early on in the game, and they were able to kind of sustain some drives from it. I thought it improved as the night went on, and then they just fatigued. We left them out there on the field far too much, I thought.
Thank you.